Welcome to ontopicretro, episode 20. This is John Cummins, and joining me tonight, I have a trio of lovely fellows. I have Philip Paulson,
That's
I
me.
have Chris Logel, and I have the wonderful Will.
Hey, hey.
How are you guys doing?
Good. I'm rested and ready to talk about fake boxing.
Fake boxing.
Fox.
This isn't as real as Telero Boxer, right? Like it's like as real as boxing gets.
Don't know what that is. I lack boxing.
I think we've already lost Flightsy. Okay.
We've already. Wait, wonderful. I'll just let the cleaner clean, and then I'll just mute.
Oh yeah. So yeah, tonight we're going to be talking Super Punch Out, which was the retro rewind game for November. And I always forget to to explain how this works on the show. Poor housekeeping for me. But if you join the Retrologic or Nintendo Dad's Discord, monthly I will throw out a trio of games, and we will all vote on what we want to play for the month. It's kind of like a book club, game club type deal, but retro games only. And I try to make it games that are pretty readily available, either found on the NSO apps on the Nintendo Switch, or games that are $10 or less, easy to find, easy to pick up, so that we're not putting anybody out. But uh, and yes, if you're on either one of those discords, you can pop in and vote, and then obviously you pick up the game wherever you find it and play it with us. And then we do this lovely show and talk about it.
I have a question.
Sure.
You've done on-topic moderns. Do you think you'll ever do a modern rewind?
A modern rewind?
Or a modern wind, because it's the first time you're doing it?
A fast forward? No, it's possible. The on-topic modern just started out as a I wanted to talk about Ghost of Tsushima, so and I didn't really have an outlet, so I created one. So that's how we got that. I don't know. Most new games are not
your show.
as. That's right. I mean, if most new games are more expensive, and usually if I do a on-topic modern, it's a large, what I would consider a AAA game usually that most people are already playing, and then just kind of throw out an open invite for anybody that wants to come talk about it. So I don't know if I'd ever do like a voting system for that. It's hard enough to keep up with the retro rewind to keep up with every month. Throwing out 3 games for people to vote on, and remembering which ones that I've already done, and trying to keep the systems that they're for in even rotation, so we're not missing out on things. So, but yes, that's how it works. You just hop on Discord and you vote for the one you want, and you play it with everyone. It's a pretty easy system. But anyway, back to the task at hand. Tonight we are talking about Super Punch Out, as voted by the community. And this is this one's dandy. This is a game series that I've never been very good at. So this is one that I usually play through like the first round, and then get knocked out by the one guy that I can't figure out his tell, and then I head over to YouTube and finish up from there usually. So to start out with, we'll go ahead and look at some experiences that we have here between us. And like I said, mine's not very great, but we can let Flightsy start us off with his experiences that he's had this time around.
All right, so to clarify, I have played half this game. I played through the minor and major courts and circuits. They're called circuits. And I think that they're like The thing that I really want to talk that I think that stood out to me the most is, despite John's issues, how well this game handles difficulty. Like, the circuit system is so natural because like I'll get like I'll and I started out really bad at this game. I died on the first French person who whose starting quote is "Please let me win." So I guess I did that for him. But
You're
like,
Gabby J.
yeah, but like working up, it's just super satisfying to like work your way up, and like I barely ever felt like I was backsliding, right? Like I'd have to try like 10, 20 times on a boxer, but like I always felt like I was getting just a bit closer, and like I didn't always feel in control, but like you'd slip into and almost naturally strategies that worked, and like you'd like innovate, and I never like it's like I got stuck, but like I never felt like I was really stuck. I felt like I was moving while being stuck. And although it might seem like a tedious old game kind of thing to have to replay stuff if you lose enough times, because you're constantly getting better, every time you replay the first two fights, you just get, or like the first two or three fights, like I never lost on one of the replay fights. I just got better, so I felt really good playing those like fights leading up to wherever I was in the circuit, and I think that's really nice. That really it's really fueling,
I,
and I wanted
I
to
could see
highlight
that.
that.
I could
Uh,
definitely see that, but I think you have me mistaken for somebody that has more time because I can't sit and play him 20 times. But
yeah.
uh, you definitely do learn after a little while the little, like I said, tells of each fighter of when to attack, when to dodge. Um, it definitely takes some time if especially if you're fresh to the series and like this is the first game you've played. Like it's going to take a little while. It's definitely made to make you play it over and over again. It's an arcade game.
But I feel like I will say I feel like it's an arcade game very well adapted to consoles, because a lot of arcade games you can kind of tell they're from an arcade, or I guess maybe I'm not the expert in arcade games, but I get this general vibe that like you could tell like that they're for the arcade, and a lot of arcade games have a hard time grabbing me, but this is very well adapted to like being a console game, I think, and but still taking the essence of that arcade original arcade experience.
Yeah, and I mean it looks good. That's one thing we get from it. Being an arcade port, it looks good, plays well. They did a good job with that. Chris, how about you? What do you got for us?
So this game's a bit of a hole for me because I didn't have a Super Nintendo, but I, when I picked this up, I remember I had a lot of muscle memory from the original Punch Out on the NES. And my son even caught me playing and said, "Why do you keep dodging that way?" I said, "Well, that's just the Punch Out way. I thought that's what it was." And I, I noticed that I think Punch Out on the NES did a little bit more hand holding, where there's a little bit more, like the tells are a little more obvious. Then there's like a literal flashing on the screen, and it's a
True.
little bit more easy to recognize. Whereas this one, it's not. And I think I in frustration, messaged everybody in Discord when I was like, "Bald Bull's already here. What is happening right now? This is way too early in the game for that dude. This is not cool." Because I didn't play this until I think it came out on the NSO, or not much more before that. Um, when the remake for the Nintendo Wii came out, I remember playing that and thinking like, "Oh, there's some characters here I don't recognize," because I'd missed the Super Punch Out, and going back now, they make much more sense. But I had a lot of trouble with this, and so like felt I had to go and really practice and get those patterns down, uh, because it was much easier with just two buttons and a direction pad, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now you have to keep track of like left punch, right punch, and the power punch, which is a separate button.
Yep.
Uh,
And I believe that this game was also this came up on retrologic. not that this game was included, but that Little Mac was included in the GameCube version of Fight Night Round Two, I think it was. But this game was also included in there too. I don't know. I think if you beat the game, you unlocked it.
Hmm.
Oh, no, wait. I'll save that for later.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, not
it
that
came up on retrologic about how Little Mac looks totally different in the game, and I think Sam was the one that remembered it.
Is this Little Mac? Is this still Little Mac?
Nintendo will tell you yes. There's like huge debates. Like you'll break the internet trying to figure this out.
Okay.
I mean, he looks nothing like. I mean, he had a California adventure, I guess, as he goes blonde now, and it's not. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not familiar middle Mac, that's for sure.
Nintendo tries to claim now that the Wii game has been out for a while that like this is a uh, you know it's takes place after both of those games, and like he's changed his look and lost his trainer, changed things up. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I remember. It says in the manual, it's like sometimes the man in their corner will yell out things. Not you though. You don't have one of those. And I was like, huh. I kind of thought I remembered having one of those.
You did in the original game.
Yeah, in the Wii version,
You can
we
make
brought
him
him back.
massage you faster.
That's right. Well, that's why they were saying that. Of course, it's easy to do this after the fact, but they're like, oh yeah, this game takes place after those other games where he's still there. But yes,
I mean,
uh,
I read a really morbid take on it that he died.
that could be
That the
possible too.
trainer died, sort of like Rocky. Yeah,
That's what they were going for.
or
I mean,
Rocky situation.
Rocky would have been like super prominent around the time that this came out. Still, they're still making the good ones back then.
Yeah.
But all right, well, I guess that leaves you for experiences.
I love Punch Out. Punch Out on the NES was one of my absolute favorite games when I was a kid. Watched my dad play it. He watched me play it. We kind of figured it out as well as we could together. Super Punch Out I missed out on, like Chris, because I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I didn't play this one until it was a virtual console. I think they put this one on the Wii at one point.
I think so.
I think that's where I played it the first time. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play a new Punch Out. The My Muscle memory from Punch Out did not serve me at all here, or not outside of Gabby J. Because now you've got a high block and a low block.
It's a totally different game.
It is. It's a completely different experience. And it took me several times to kind of get it down, but I did finally get there. It did kind of help to have experience with the franchise because I knew that there were tells that these guys were just as much puzzles as they were like AI fighters or anything like that. There's a hole. I just need to find it, stuff like that. But I've never finished this one. I've never beaten it all the way. The last two guys are a nightmare for me, and I can't quite manage it.
Yeah, and that's Chris mentioned. This game's a little bit longer than the original game, and you have more original boxers. You have almost double the roster, and you don't have to replay any.
There's no repeat fights either.
Yeah, so they did a. It's pretty crazy too. Just having 16 original not original, but unique fighters in the game. It's something that the original one, like the fights change a little bit. Like there's different tells, the further you get in the circuits in the first game, but having to try to figure out 16 unique fighters is pretty crazy, especially with the arcade aspect of it, where they're expecting you to do these fights several times. So,
yeah. But like we mentioned in the pre-show before Will joined, the fighters might be all unique, but the like Bear Hugger and the Clown are very similar. I mean, they're not. I'm not gonna give them a pass on kind of repeating fighters. It's
Yeah.
they just put some new lipstick on a pig sort of thing.
That's
Literally.
yes.
Shave lipstick, throw him out
Yeah,
there.
put some hair, like crazy hair on him. Yeah, as I said, I didn't have a whole lot of experience. I played the original game quite a bit as a kid. Wasn't very good at that one either. These just are not my games, but I do appreciate them nonetheless. Definitely like watching people. Like this was a game that as a kid I never could make it very far, but watching my cousin play, he was quite a bit better than I was at it. And this is a game that's just like fun to watch somebody play. Kind of similar to how Will stated that him and his dad would play it. Like I had zero problems watching somebody play this game. I just wasn't very good myself.
Actually, I was tempted to look up and watch people play it, but I really wanted to find the strategies myself. So like I
Yeah.
had to like resist like look that temptation to look it up.
Yeah, if I would have had this game on Super Nintendo, I had a Super Nintendo, and I kind of talked. This was kind of late uh, in the any or Super Nintendo's life cycle, and I definitely did not have this game. Like I don't remember playing it. I didn't rent it. I'm not even sure that I knew about it being a thing at this. Whenever it was first released, I don't think I played it until the Wii. It was either the Wii. Was this one on the Wii U also?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't.
Probably. I would think if it was on
Some
Wii Virtual
some
Console.
cases that's the
Yeah.
case, but
Yeah.
not always. But I played it on one of those. Still didn't make it very far. Probably, I might have had more time back then. I might have made it a little bit further than I did this time without sinking tons of time into it. Yeah, I always I like the point of view and I like the artwork of Punch Out. Like to think about how early this game came out and like how unique it is. There really isn't another game like this in its time period that I could think of. And I kind of laugh about Tellero Boxer on the Virtual Boy, but you could definitely tell it's kind of like a love letter to Punch Out, and in its own right. I'm actually a little bit better at Tellero Boxer, I think, this game. I did probably put more time into it, honestly. But yeah, no, I definitely have. I just like having all the characters as non PC as they are. There's just something unique about all of it, and I like it. But yeah, that's a pretty good range of experiences. We have, Flightsy, who wasn't even around yet when this game came out, and then
I'm young.
yeah, it's got some history with it. With that out of the way,
these games definitely benefit from having save states and
yes,
rewind.
I agree.
That being said, I did not use the save states or the rewind, but I did. And I mentioned I really liked the kind of like having to replay the circuit because it made me feel powerful to like re-go at the earlier fights in the ring and like absolutely demolish them.
And this one like rewind's more valuable than save states to me because like you could save state at the beginning, but it's kind of like I don't know. You get so far into the fight and you take so many hits, it's like not worth it anymore to try to continue off that state. So the rewind's definitely like you get into like a bad groove, you can rewind a little bit and make up for it. But the bad thing about NSO,
usually when I rewind, I end up in a worse groove.
Yeah, sometimes that happens too.
I just cannot pick it up in the middle.
That's true.
It's from the beginning or nothing.
Punch Out in a lot of ways is kind of like a rhythm game, Like you have to be in that mindset and in that groove in order to kind of survive, and you have to know what's coming. Like it's definitely has that feel. And
that's why I found the save states were more valuable because if I wasn't in the right groove, I could start over, go back to the last save state, and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of I like I said, I'd like to save state at at the beginning of the fight. That way, I'm not having to go all the way back through the circuit or whatever. But uh,
Yep.
I would definitely, if I remembered to, I would use rewind probably to step back at least a little bit. Maybe because there's times where you can just get demolished if you're not careful.
I have a question actually. So like the punches, like there's the upper punch, the lower punch, and then like left and right. I just kind of used whatever. Is there like a consistent strategy for which one you want to throw?
It's going to depend on the boxer you're fighting, of where they guard at, and like I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know that I would say. Well, I am not good enough at this game to know for sure if there is something that works 90, 100% of the time. I don't have any of this stuff memorized or anything. I tended to default, as far as like high punches, like face punches. I find it doesn't usually matter all that much, but the body blows, maybe it's just in my head, but the body blows, I usually try to go for, if they're turned a little bit, is like they're uppercutting me or something, I'll go for, excuse me, whichever hand is gonna hit them, like which one they're kind of facing me, turn toward me in a way.
Right.
But that could just be me being ridiculous. I don't know if it actually
I mean,
matters.
I do know that the left hand is faster and the right hand theoretically has more power, but is slower. And I have noticed like on the Mexican at the end of the major, not the third boss of the major circuit, uh, he'll like swing so far to like the left or right. I couldn't hit him with one of my punches. I had to do the other one.
That's right. There are some like that where
Yeah,
they'll end up way, 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 but they are definitely outliers.
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
it's kind of like what I was saying. It
to
kind of
bring
depends on the opponent.
it's not a boxing simulator, because in boxing you have a dominant hand, and your dominant hand is normally the hand that's back, and that's for your power punches, and your least dominant hand is up front, and you're doing little jabs straight at it. But this isn't a box simulator at all. That's so whether there's no difference between the left and right. I think the only real difference is the head punch or the body blows. That's really, and
But
again, like John said, depends on the opponent.
but
Yeah,
here's the
who's
thing.
where they stay open longer certain
Not
times.
so yes, I've been saying the left hand is quicker and the right hand is more powerful. Partially because I noticed that when playing, but also I read the manual and like there's like this whole graph about it. And so like the left and right hand do actually have different stats to them. Uh, it's in the manual. Although the power punch doesn't let you pick a hand, you just press A, and you can only pick upper or lower. And I guess that's a good time to transition to the manual. I'm not sure if any of the rest of you, like looked up a PDF of this thing, but it's beautiful. And it like there's like this whole page that's just dedicated to these really nice wanted posters of the not wanted posters, like these circuit advertisement
Yeah,
posters for each of the
the
things.
fight ad.
It's great. I really enjoyed reading it, but that's my source that I know that I'm not crazy when I notice there's a difference between the two hands. And so I was wondering, I just always defaulted to the left because it was faster.
So does the NSO app have the manual included in this game?
No, unfortunately, that's not how. Unfortunately, NSO doesn't do that. I really wish it did. I just looked it up like on the internet beforehand.
I thought they had a manual for them. Maybe not the exact manual like that came with the game originally, but I thought they had something that would
There's like
like
a
explain.
short. There's a short blurb for
Yeah,
each game. I didn't even read it. I read the one for Kirby's Adventure, and it was weirdly not consistent. Like it told the story, weirdly not the same as the manual or the actual game told the story. So I haven't thought very much of those blurbs since then.
hit or miss, I guess.
That would be a neat feature, though, if they could incorporate a PDF of
Well,
the manual in the game.
I mean,
I'm thinking maybe the classic consoles had manuals. Well,
they
one
didn't.
something, huh?
I think the old Virtual Console maybe had
Or
it,
yeah, maybe it was Virtual Console.
and
Somewhere Nintendo included a PDF of sorts that you could read the original manual. Like I said, I
Yeah.
can't remember if it was on Virtual Console or the classic consoles they released, the
This
Super Nintendo NES.
this is definitely too specific, but I do know that Dream Collection, the 20th anniversary we talked about 2 days ago, definitely has the manuals. Where like you pause and you can see the manual. I'm
Just have to bring
almost
Kirby
dead
back
certain
in
of
here,
that.
don't you?
Yes. Now I have to look it up to make sure I'm not lying, and then you have to cut it out.
Oh no, it's staying. You'll just forever be known as incorrect.
Kirby, yeah.
The incorrect Kirby guy.
Although, interestingly, the
Incorrect.
Dream Collection manual itself, like the physical manual that comes with the game, has a short blurb on the controls for each game.
I mean, you're not wrong about Kirby, but you're wrong about something.
Thanks.
All right. I mean, you made the manual sound cool. I never looked at it. I'm just a foolhardy person who's far too confident in my own ability to figure Punch out. It never occurred to me to look it up, but I'm going to because you like those illustrations do sound cool.
They are.
For sure. All right. I think we're ready to kind of move a little into the development of the game. And we'll kind of start with the release dates and things. This game released in Japan on March 1st of 94. North America on October 1st of 94. Europe would have to wait until January 26th the following year in 95. And then it says here that in... Nope, never mind. I don't know what that is. It is not accurate. It says North American re-release in 96, but then it has GameCube underneath it, which is not possible.
Yeah.
All right. I don't really know a whole lot about the development of this game itself. Like I said, I know that it's a arcade port, and I think this one had like a special. I think this was another one of the games that had like a particular chipset in it, but I'm not 100% sure. And then while we were kind of offline for a minute, Chris did bring up the kind of fun fact that Charles Martinet did do the voice for the fighters in this game, which is kind of cool.
I mean, I like how the Punch-Out Wiki says it here. Charles Martinet, parentheses, a prominent voice actor for the Super Mario franchise. So, yes.
Gosh.
Clearly, people, if they play Punch-Out, you don't know anything about Mario, even though he was the referee in the first one.
Well, and it's kind of
Prominent feels slightly disrespectful.
Right?
Yeah, it is unique because I kind of wonder if that we didn't have him doing the voices for these characters, if he would have been Mario, because this is pre-Mario for him.
Dang.
Since this game released in 94, was probably being worked on, from 90, maybe even from 92 going forward. We didn't get Charles Martinet as Mario until 64, Mario 64.
So this might have been his in. This might have been
this might have been his Nintendo in. And then we get him for the rest of it.
I mean, I can only imagine the discussion like, well, Mario needs to have a voice. Hey, let's get that boxing guy.
I guess he kind of like gets to show off in this game. Like he gets to do some different accents and like just some different, some voice type stuff and maybe Nintendo is like, hey, maybe he can do a Mario voice. Let's see what he does.
I think his story about how he got the role as Mario is like uploaded somewhere. Like he said it in like an interview somewhere, so we could like check.
Oh, I'm not. This isn't a Charles Martinet podcast. That'll come later.
I mean,
I can't wait for the next Retro Rewind where we play Charles Martinet.
That's right. Well, we'll play. What is that? The Runner game where he was like a character in it. That's a modern game though, so that would have to wait for a different show. But yeah, no, it's just kind of interesting to think about that he's already doing voices for some games that are pre Mario 64.
I mean, if you ask me, is Gabby J? I think who's from France, and you said, "Is this a French accent?" I would have like, you may have missed the mark on that one.
Yeah,
I don't think of anything more French than "Yay."
I mean, his Italian accent is not even Italian. It's. I don't know too many Italians that are like wahoo.
Don't know many Italians.
He just kind of does what he wants. Yeah, I did he even spend any time like in Italy to prepare for this role? Like
New York, done.
Yeah,
New York. It's an American Italian accent.
I mean, I still don't understand why they didn't just have the same actor from Super Show do it. They should just had Lou Albano do the.
I mean, I was looking into it earlier, and the same actor from Super Show didn't even last for the sequel shows. There are 2 sequel cartoons to that show, and like Mario, like they have a different voice actor for Mario because I don't think he came back.
I mean, we should have got that guy to Punch Out. Let's be honest.
Or I guess they could have got Bob Hoskins, but that might have even been more difficult to do. Especially with after his experiences making the Super Mario movie.
Yeah, that might have enraged a few people.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, we're gonna get back to Punch Out. We've strayed way too far. Does anybody know anything about the story of Super Punch Out? Is there any story to it?
I read the entire manual, and I can't think of anything beyond just winning circuits.
I would just assume
there's a man in front of you.
There's a career
Punch
story
him before he punches you.
Right? It's a career story. I want to be the champion of the world, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a basic. This is a classic Nintendo, no story, just play the game.
Less story than the NES one. This one doesn't even have a training montage in between.
No. And I mean, they got rid of Doc Lewis, so they don't have anything to talk about for this game.
Yeah, I definitely missed the cutaway where you're running down the East River. Yeah, right. You need that as characters.
Yeah.
I will say, there's not story for Little Mac ? Himself, but each of the fighters has a little blurb on them in the they have a backstory in the manual. So that's it's world building more than story, but
yeah,
it is interesting.
I mean, and the Wii version expands more. They have short animations which sort of introduce the characters before each fight as well, which had some neat context.
Yeah. It definitely drops most of that stuff out of here, and they've definitely focused on just getting you through the circuits.
I would say one of my favorites is that Gabby J, apparently when he went boxing, he learned from Glass Joe, and when he graduated and beat Glass Joe, that is his only win on record.
Makes sense. I mean, everybody beats Glass Joe, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of disappointed to not see Glass Joe come back. It's like I know I can beat that guy at least. Come on, give me something.
I mean, at least one thing that I think they might have. I don't know if you. I mean, this might be a matter of opinion. Whether you think it's an improvement, having a transparent Little Mac, where you're looking through them instead of having a Little Mac that's, very short, proportionally to your opponents, and now you're punching way up because you're tiny Little Mac and they're regular sized people.
Yeah, I think I like the perspective of the original game a little bit better. I don't know if I see that as an upgrade that you're playing as a transparent character.
I mean, at least it takes away from the fact that Little Mac no longer looks like Little Mac anymore, so you're not really looking at him.
Yeah, it might be a
I
plus.
suppose. Yeah. I thought it was funny that he had to that it looked like he was definitely having to stand on his tiptoes to hit a guy in the belly button.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that too. That was like part of the game is, you're the underdog, you're the little guy that no one expects to win any fights.
I mean,
It's
you definitely need a ladder
story.
to reach some of them to their faces. You're not punching.
That's why he jumps.
Right.
He just can't jump in Super Smash Bros. For some reason.
Wait, really? He can't jump in
Well, not
Smash?
very well.
Not well.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like
not
one of the
well.
worst jumping characters in the game.
I liked using him in Smash Brothers, but that's
His
because
recovery is very poor.
I also suck at Smash Brothers.
It says here that I don't remember if this is also from the original game, but the name of the association is the World Video Boxing Association, the WVBA. I can't pull that out of my head to think back if it was in the original one or not.
Wait, really? Give me a few seconds. I want to look. Because I remember something different. Because I was looking through the manual and it says rules and it says rules and advice and it says Nintendo Video Boxing Association rules.
Oh, well, there
I
we
guess
go.
That's not the league. That's not the circuits. That's like the NFL versus whatever the other thing is. I don't know sports. Analogy success.
Yes. But yeah, so no story really. So we can just kind of move on to how the game works and talk about the gameplay and just maybe our favorite opponent that we face. Mine has to come from the first circuit because that's as far as I made it. Yeah, see, like we said, you have a variety of different punches you can do. You can do some, to me, like always the difficult part is like knowing when to dodge and like I don't know. I struggle with getting a rhythm with each fighter. It seems like, and that's really the name of the game.
Part of the process is you struggle and then you're like, I'll never beat this, and then you get slightly better, and then like eventually you get to the point where you actually feel where you're actually good.
And then this game doesn't have the rounds anymore either, right?
That's what threw me off because I think in the original Punch-Out, the clock does go much faster. So it's not a real one-to-one the time. But then when I got to the end of the 3 minutes, I thought, okay, the fight's over. Like, no, that's just round one. What happened?
Yeah. No. What happens, how it works in this one is you get to the end of the 3 minutes and do you automatically lose? But you can replay as many times as you want. Well, no, not as many times as you want. As many times as you earn point wise.
Yeah, if you can't earn a KO or a TKO, you have to restart basically. And then, so you also, like you said, the timer isn't 1-to-1, and then also the clock will stop whenever you knock the opponent down.
Yeah.
So like there's definitely some differences from how the timing and the stuff works from the original game.
I mean, you could retry from the fight, right? So you don't have to retry the circuit unless you run out of lives.
Yes. Sorry. No, you don't have to restart the circuit. It's just restarting the fight. And you get, what do you get? How many lives do you get for?
I think you get like 3 lives, and then every 50,000 points, you get another one.
That's right.
So again, like as you get better at the circuit, when you start smoking those easy ones, you have more lives for the later ones.
Yes, that helps because you're going to need it. And the game keeps track of your times, so like this could become like this is a time attack. Like even in the original game, like you could try to see if you could defeat one of the opponents faster each time.
There is a time travel mode. Like there's a time trial mode
Yes,
where you can challenge any fighter you've beaten
yeah,
for the time specific.
and this is kind of funny too because I didn't even realize this was a thing, but I guess Nintendo had an arm wrestling arcade game that's kind of in the same, maybe not the same universe per se, but it's the same kind of idea. It's a a time attack type game, but I'd never heard of it. I was kind of reading about it a little bit earlier. Uh,
Pretty neat.
so, kind of to what you were saying earlier, you get a combination of punches. You can jab, body blow, uppercut, and I don't know. I mean, we did. I didn't have the manual to look at, and I didn't look it up. So I definitely find it interesting that that the punches have different strengths and stuff. It's not definitely not something that you necessarily notice while you're fighting, looking at the enemy's health.
I will say I didn't notice the power, but I noticed the speed
The
difference.
speed, yeah, I could see that.
That's why I just went for the fastest one.
And I mean, we could talk about the characters because really the gameplay is really light in this game too. It's just very repetitive, and really, it's the whole game is about the characters. Like that's what makes this game.
I don't,
And
I'm not sure if
so
I'd say if it's light as it is more like condensed.
yeah,
Because again there's a lot, and then because there's the four different types of punches, and then there's the two blocks, and you can dodge both ways and duck. And since different opponents, like it is centered around the characters, but I almost found it a little overwhelming actually at first. The amount of options I had, I wasn't sure what I exactly to do.
yeah, and what I mean by light is like you get the same move set from the very beginning. Like it
Yes,
never changes. You don't ever get any different. You can't earn any upgrades. Like this is what you get, and you just have to work with it and get better. This game makes you get better. This isn't a like playing Metroid where it's like I'm kind of stuck. That must mean that I need to find something somewhere because like I'm missing something from my toolkit to be be able to move on. So like
instead, instead here it means you're missing something about how the fighter is working.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. This game is all about the fighters.
You got to
Like
practice.
your move set stays the same. You have to learn the fighters.
Hmm.
You can get your move set down, you know, in the first circuit, but then you have to learn how to use it for each individual fighter, like how they're going to react to certain things. We've already been talking about Gabby J quite a bit, of course, because he's the first fighter. He's the one we all made it to for sure. Uh, and then Chris talked about the bear hugger, who is a Canadian boxer, I believe.
So I feel I have to interject here as I think I'm the only Canadian on the show, but
This is true.
it troubles me both because I resemble Bear Hugger way too much, and I don't know other than me, I don't know what other Canadian looks like this dude, but it's yeah, it's a
Uh,
huge. I mean, why don't they make him a Mountie or something? I don't know.
well, again, the whole thing about Punch Out is like this game is very like non PC, and like whenever people are like, when are we going to get another one? I was like, man, I don't know if they can get away with this game again, like in this time period. Even the Wii one was pretty rough, but that was 2009 or so, maybe 2010. So
I mean, no, we
it's
all of us
still been a long way.
we Canadians don't all chug maple syrup all the time, but I mean, It's not the worst thing
Well, and I
people
just
said about us.
I mean,
Have
he's
you,
he's a it's his training regimen to chug the maple syrup. He's got to be able to just like absorb body blows and make fun of you. Like it doesn't do anything.
No, but
He's
have
removed
you
half of your options by chugging maple syrup every day.
that
that's
that
right.
have
that
you
sugar rush will give you a lot to go on. Will
What?
have you, as the manual says, have you in fact beaten up all of the animals in the Canadian forests?
no, there's way too many of those.
I like here
Well,
how they're like he's supposed to resemble a lumberjack because all Canadians are lumberjacks, right?
Yeah,
And he's
we also wear overalls with no shirts underneath them. That's pretty
yeah,
stuff. It's cold.
and
it's
he's from
interesting.
Salmon Arm, British Columbia. Have you ever been there, Chris? Have you seen? Maybe that's why. Maybe all the
No, it's on my
Wait,
bucket list, but I know
wait,
people from
that's
there, and no, they don't
that's
look
not what
like
the
him.
manual says. Sorry, it says the manual says he's from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
That's much worse. You should just leave him. Sorry to all the Saskatchewanian listeners, but yeah, no, you keep him in BC. That's fine.
yeah, or maybe the let's see. Nope. Yep, you're right. I was reading the one from the arcade version because apparently in the arcade version they're from different areas. Which
Yeah,
it's like, come on, Nintendo, you can't even keep that the same. Like,
I mean this one's also not a lumberjack, although he still resembles one quite a bit.
Yeah,
He's the very similar field of carpenter.
but here's the problem.
Now, see, to
Sorry,
to
well,
me, he just looks like a guy who he's in a horror movie. He owns a pig farm, and that's where he throws the bodies. I don't get lumberjack vibes from Bear Hugger
that's
at all.
no,
that's where the Saskatchewan comes in because the Saskatchewan is a plain. There's no trees, so he can't be a lumberjack from Saskatchewan. They have no trees. That's why he has to be from BC.
Well, that's why he
Right.
can't still be a lumberjack. He's done.
No, so he's a
yeah.
Not a
Now
Saskatchewan.
if he's a
now
pig
he's a
farmer
carpenter.
from Saskatchewan, that makes more sense. Also, probably would have killed a lot of people.
The in the Wii version of Punch Out, apparently he moves back to British Columbia. So they right they're wrong.
That's good.
Great.
Then who's next on the?
Piston Hurricane. Do you want me to read you Piston Hurricane's thing?
Yes, you can read Piston Hurricane if you'd like.
After losing his home during a terrible storm, Piston Hurricane hit the streets of Havana. When the opportunity to turn pro came along, he was gone like the wind. Learning to block your opponent's punches is your key to success with him. And that's another thing, like the manual will give you like tips on some of the early ones, telling you what you're supposed to learn from these guys.
I feel like if this guy was an 80s action movie, he'd be played by Wesley Snipes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, he would. He was my first wall of sorts in this game because he's the first guy that really requires you to block up high and low. Like one is
Yeah.
an input and the other is just blocking. It didn't
Yeah.
take me, a super long time to figure that out. But I was coming in, too foolhardy to read the manual and too proud to admit when I'm wrong. So first he just, beat me senseless on half the punches in his little hurricane rush he does.
And I will say, even as I went the manual, by the time I got to him, I had so ingrained a practice of like just dodging and then counterattacking. That was like my one strategy. That when he did the hurricane thing, I didn't even think to block because it hadn't like registered as a game mechanic yet for me.
Yeah, this is where my punch out muscle memory failed me because I was trying to dodge as well. And of course, every other punch you just get hit. And it's just a slow descent to hitting the canvas.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take very many either, and the Hurricane move is pretty powerful. Who do we have next? Bald Bull, man. Bald Bull brings back memories.
Is this from the first one as
He's
well?
from the first one.
Yes,
Yep.
Bald.
And he's much later in the game. This is why I thought this is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like the end of the second circuit,
Yeah.
or maybe even into the third.
Yeah.
And then, according to the wiki here, he also made a cameo appearance as Mask X in the arm wrestling game. So not only is he a professional boxer, he's also an arm wrestler.
I mean, he looks the part.
Yeah.
This guy could have been an over the top, right?
This dude could have been a wrestler. He could have been lots of things.
You need to be a big man to participate. Bald Bull is game.
Yeah.
You need to look on the wiki whenever you get a chance. Like for his Mask X character, it's literally him with a a luchador mask with an X, but like they didn't even change his stance or anything. They just put a mask on his face.
Oh, they didn't even like. They didn't even like put a good mask on his face.
It's pretty great.
Oh yeah.
Oh man!
Oh my goodness!
I love this.
What is Mask X? I never heard of it.
And like you said, Bald Bull's a pretty late appearance in the original game. They kind of moved him up. I guess he's fallen in rank by the time we get to this game.
Yeah. Although notably the what Manuel acts like he's just had a long illustrious career as a minor circuit champion. It doesn't mention him falling or anything. It doesn't mention him ever not being a minor circuit champion.
He shows up later in the first game.
And so maybe the first game comes after.
Not according to Nintendo. This is the last game in the series canonically.
I mean, it's possible that the first game he's reached his pinnacle of his career, and then the rest is just middling around him.
That 3-foot guy knocked him out, and he just never came back.
Yeah. Never came back.
Wasn't the same after that. Beat him twice.
I mean, the dude's the size of his one leg.
Oh man. The next guy we have here is Bob Charlie, which is a really bad reference to Bob Marley.
He marks the beginning where Super Punch Out is done being subtle at this point.
Yeah,
yes,
it's only,
from this point forward.
It's only mildly racist, I guess.
And then Bob Charlie is crowned the Jive King of Kingston.
Sure
man.
Is.
Yes. Even some of these characters are just hilarious.
And Nintendo was worried about Mike Tyson being in the first one. But, but they put these guys in I don't get that.
So I could just see Charles Martinet doing this voice, and he's like, "Hey, man." Oh, this is gonna be great. I don't think I even made it to this circuit. I think I bowed out at probably Bald Bull. So I'm gonna have to try a little harder so I can reach some of these guys.
I had to look at a YouTube video how to get past Bob Charlie, but that's the last fighter I think I beat.
Really? That's weird. I didn't have very much trouble with Bob Charlie after Bald Bull. He kind of felt like a tone back down of difficulty.
A letdown.
Not a letdown, but kind of a welcome reprieve, so the first few of the circuit could be easy again.
But Bald Bull seemed, if you remember from the first game, if you got the time right, that's the toughest part. The bull charge. If you got the time right, you knocked him down 3 times.
Yep. He's pretty much the same fight at that point.
Right.
And then the next guy we get is even better. He's Dragon Chan, which is a reference to Jackie Chan. But then if you look at him, he looks like Bruce Lee. And his nationality is British Chinese.
Well, it says he's from Hong Kong.
Yeah, but it says his nationality is British Chinese though.
Isn't that? I think that I have to remember the history behind Hong Kong because there's a whole.
Well, it was handed back to the Chinese. I think it was 1997.
But it was in the hands of the British for a while.
It was.
So it was British for a while.
So that's why.
Yeah.
All right. So that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, he's totally Bruce Lee with Jackie Chan's name. They're not even trying. Like you said,
No.
at this point, it's all out. Like they're not
No,
even.
and this is where it like I was like, are we done being a boxing game? Because he'll get up on the turnbuckle and do like a flying kick at you.
Yeah.
Yep.
As you do.
Take a step back and heal himself a little bit.
He
You let him.
regenerates health. How does he even do? He splits into two to do this.
I mean, the referees are definitely are playing fast and loose with the rules, whatever they are.
And then from there we have Masked Muscle, who's the luchador.
He's the guy who spits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He was apparently banned from professional wrestling because of that. And earned the title as Amico to None and Crown Prince of the Cheap Shot.
It's too much for wrestling, but welcome here at the video boxing.
Boxing definitely has looser rules than professional wrestling.
Because it's not even, he doesn't even like sneak it in. His coach is like, spit in his face.
Yeah. He's getting coached on the side. Just do it. Oh man. And yeah, like his deal with the headbutt too is.
Yeah.
I will say, once like the spit is devastating because like it takes out your ability to punch for a while, but like he becomes really vulnerable after he does it.
Which is kind of funny because you think that if someone spit in your eyes, you'd lose your ability to dodge. Like you could still punch, you just wouldn't be able to know when to dodge.
You wouldn't know where you're punching either, though,
or where to block. Hey, yeah. But you could just throw punches.
You're throwing wild punches, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And who's next? Next we have Mr. Sandman, another original.
So wait, is this original
who's been bumped down?
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a huge knockdown for Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, he was second to last or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was right behind Mr. Dream or Mike Tyson, which depending on which game you had.
Depending on when you bought it.
Yep. And he is... Well, he's American. Yep.
I love the illustrations behind these guys in the manual. Like behind him, it's American. Behind him, there's just like fireworks going off.
Well, yeah, man. Again, this is like a Rocky reference almost.
If you Americans are known for anything, it's for blowing up stuff.
Yep, it's true. Like whenever you watch Rocky and the
Apollo Creed.
I will say I've never actually watched Rocky.
Yeah, when Apollo Creed's coming out and like all the fireworks are going off, all the pyrotechnics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's totally got to be what this is pulling from. Yeah, that is a big downgrade. Like he's not even halfway through the game,
And I'm not going to say that because I did watch a playthrough. I don't think the characters get more impressive. So I was like, I don't know. I think if we were being honest, then we put Mr. Dream against some of these higher opponents. I think he takes them.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Which is kind of funny because like you don't get Mr. Dream in this game at all.
No, you don't.
You think that they would have reused him and like moved him down as well, but like he got defeated and he's less ranked now.
They unmasked him and killed him in the ring. That was it.
That's why Little Mac dyed his hair. He had to change his identity.
He's in witness
protection.
protection.
Killed Mr. Dream. Yeah.
And then next we have Aaron Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was quite.
This guy's from Ireland.
This was a troubling one for me too.
Yeah.
This is. Yeah. I tried the world circuit once and then just got completely smoked by this guy, and I was like, the major circuit, that's enough. That's enough. I mean, I fought hard for the major circuit.
It says here he's a palette swap of Piston Hurricane as well.
Oh yeah, he does the Hurricane punch, but just twice in a row. And like if you hit him in the middle, he'll then go launch right back in. Oh, and he starts on the opposite punch because of course he does.
Well, yeah, he has to. He's got to change it up so you're not used to his fighting style right off the bat.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a glitch. It says if Aaron Ryan is knocked out as he starts his jab combo while Little Mac's health is low, both he and Little Mac will be knocked out simultaneously. This will cause the game to soft lock.
Yeah, I did this. I knocked him out and also got hit like at the same time a few times during the fight. Never enough to knock me out, but yeah, I noticed like the beginnings of that, I guess.
Yeah, your health just wasn't low enough for this to happen, which would be hilarious. They probably did. I mean, these are all like direct ROMs from the original stuff, so it would lock it up if you did this. That's great. I love learning little things like that. Next, we have Heike Kaguro.
I always forget about that character. Every time I get that far, it's like, oh, right.
It's not very Punch Out like.
No, not really. Because I remember Aaron Ryan sticks in my head pretty well because I played the Wii Punch Out before this one. And Aaron Ryan gave me hell on that for the longest time. So I saw him here and immediately started, dreading it a little bit. And then, I know the clown's in this circuit too. So I always forget about the second guy. Let's forget about Heike.
From Osaka, Japan. Is there something?
This guy's kind of clown-like as well, but
I never got to him. Is there something significant about Osaka specifically? They have him from there?
Not really.
Not that I know of.
Not that I can think of that would apply here. I know they speak a pretty different dialect, but
yeah,
nothing that would do this.
And he is a spiritual successor of Great Tiger. That's what it says in here.
Sure.
Kind of makes sense. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Whatever you say, Nintendo.
Or whatever the wiki people cooked up.
Yes. Oh, this is all probably somewhere in a manual, I guarantee. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff you're probably getting.
I'm reading off the actual manual.
All right, who's next? I don't remember anything particular about this guy when I was watching it.
Mad Clown.
From Milan, Italy.
Just big clown.
This is the palette swap of Bear Hugger.
Mm-hmm.
Does Mad Clown give you fits? Was he difficult?
No, not really. I never really had a terribly difficult time with Mad Clown. I lost a couple of times, but I certainly wouldn't consider him a wall like some of the other ones that I struggled with.
And then next on the list is Super Macho Man. Is he pretty much the same fight as in the original game?
I mean, as close as any of the other ones are. No, that's not fair. Bald Bull's pretty much the same guy.
Right.
Yeah. There's no way this guy's 28 years old.
Right?
He looks like he's 60.
Right? It's like he must have gone gray at 15 or something.
I mean, he's been in the sun a long time.
Yeah, he
Fair.
Definitely. Yeah.
Fair. He definitely has been.
Because this guy was tough in the original game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, once you get to that point in the original, and all those guys are tough towards the end there.
I mean, he's no cakewalk here either, but
yeah, it's so funny. His attacks are similar to that's from the original game because I was like Soda Popinski. And then
I was bummed that Soda Pop's not in this one.
Yeah, I was kind of that way too. I was expecting to see. I mean, at this point, they've used enough people from the original game that they could have just went ahead and threw everybody in there. And then
I just want to know what the Super Nintendo version of his laugh would be.
Yeah, because on the NES it was limited by the sound by the ships. So
At
I don't
least,
know.
at least, at least so far, I don't think they continue for the special circuit. But at least so far, they've been saving the returns for like the champions, right?
So, yeah,
Yeah,
So,
I suppose they have.
yeah.
that's what it does look like here.
So they have a limited amount of slots if they're trying to follow this theme where they want the champions to have a special impact by being
Okay,
someone you've seen
okay.
before.
I can see that. Counterpoint: Rick and Nick Bruiser.
I don't know what they're thinking with those. I think they were like, they're so awesome. They don't even have a place they're from. I don't know what they were thinking with those two.
Yeah. I mean that brings us to the special circuit, the last one. These are all, brand new fighters from this game, and I imagine these are pretty tough.
Yeah, yeah. Narcissus, I can get through. Narcissus Prince. I mean, I do all right. I can get through Narcissus on a fairly regular basis. He's a blonde, pretty boy.
He's also
Hoy,
British.
yeah, he's blonde. He's British.
It's got to be.
Whatever. Yeah. Hoy is a small old man, and he makes me angry. I got very frustrated fighting Hoy. Just he's small, he's quick. He hits you with a stick, which seems
Kind of unfair.
yeah. Like I mean, we haven't exactly been, regulation boxing for a while at this point, but I feel like
Yeah.
being a bludgeon in kind of take things to another
Oh
another
yeah, and he
unacceptable.
he also
Well,
was like
Fisher,
doing kung fu and stuff. So like he's definitely not boxing.
No, absolutely not.
I really want to
I
know how
mean,
he's holding that stick so well with a boxing glove.
I don't know. He's probably cheating.
I will point out something I really liked in the manual. It takes time in the Nintendo Game Video Boxing Association rules to list one that says there are no illegal moves or punches.
The only rule is that there are no rules.
There are other rules after that, though. But like you can do anything, but there are rules about like how the timeout works and like who wins and technical knockouts and stuff.
Yeah. The punches though, he can use the stick. He can,
There's a
think he
really
like
lovely rule infractions list on the wiki page for him with things like I mean, if we even go beyond outfit and things and having a stick, let's see. This says this I guess, compared to, real boxing. Backhands are not allowed. Kicks are not allowed. Open palm strikes are not allowed. His staff counts as a foreign object, and he uses the staff to hit Little Mac.
oh, it's so funny.
Which is an infraction every time he does so.
Yes.
Which I'm sure just keeps Hoy up at night.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he is hurting inside from beating you with a stick.
Yeah, I'm sure it really upsets him.
Well, it even says in here he's the most unorthodox boxer in the series, out of everybody,
Yeah.
which would include even Donkey Kong from the Wii game.
Donkey Kong doesn't hit you with a stick.
Donkey
This
Kong
is
in the
true.
Wii game?
Yeah, he wears boxing gloves
Yeah.
and punches you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I guess at least he is boxing in the game.
Yeah.
He's just not a orthodox character, I guess.
Hoy is a huge part of the reason I'd never bothered to put myself through finishing the special circuit. Like we get to the next two, Rick and Nick. I got past Rick once or twice, never did beat Nick. As far as I'm concerned, they're interchangeable, which is doubly disappointing since they're the last two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, really, since they're pretty similar, like you're probably burning all your lives just trying to get through one of them, and then you just got to turn around and fight another one.
And then the prospect of losing out and then having to fight Hoy again. I could only do that so many times. I was like, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this super punch out.
Yeah, I mean, they look the same. Like,
They're bald, muscly men. They should have at
Yes.
least put I guess Rick, is the one who's not as good. They should have at least bumped him to swap him and Mr. Sandman. Mr.
Yeah. Let you.
Sandman's second to last, and then Rick is, he's
Well,
before this,
Personally, I think
But
it would have been better to swap out Nick so they could keep the theme going where the final fight is like a return. I know they probably wanted their own final boss,
fair
but then
enough.
they just did the same thing twice. So they vetoed their right to have their own final boss there.
yeah, and Nick is like Mr. Clean, I'll look at this.
Oh,
They're so generic they didn't even give them a nationality.
Yeah. Like I said, this is very I don't know, just kind of
it's
disappointing to get to
super
the end.
disappointing compared to everything else that the game has done. To then just trot out two bald guys who are just good at punches, it does feel like a letdown.
It's pretty yeah. I think they could have. I mean, heck, if they went out of the way to put Donkey Kong in the Wii game, this game could have had a better boss.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the characters,
Now, what's with the
and that's
age
pretty much
question?
like the rundown. There's not really a whole lot else that I could think of to the game.
I mean, are we getting to, do we have I have a fun fact.
Let's just break out some fun facts.
So, August of this year, 28 years after the game, what? What do you mean, what's question mark?
The age for the Bruiser. Nick Bruiser has a age question mark.
Oh yeah, on the posters in the manual it says age unknown.
Why?
That's
It's like they
had
didn't
to
even
be
fill out his bio.
mysterious. Yeah, they're like, oh, he's just a
They're
mysterious guy, and really, it
both
was just,
mysterious.
we
The
just don't
one
want to
piece
fill
of
it out.
the one piece of lore I have on him is that Rick has been secretly wanting to take revenge on Nick for Nick beating him, and that's the only piece of lore I have on them from the manual.
Nice. Apparently, you could use the in Japan. You could get this game through the Nintendo Power system as well. I didn't know that.
Oh,
Which is also just brought up on RetroLogic last week
yeah.
or earlier this week.
Wonder if there's. I wonder. Wait, I'm going to look up Picross NP and see if there's a Punch Out volume. There is not. So it's not
Missed
relevant.
opportunity.
So I have a fun fact. This year, August of this year, 28 years after Super Punch Out has released, they found a debug mode. That you can access just by pressing inputs on the thing. And the
do
debug
remember
mode,
reading about that.
Yeah, I
the
did
debug
too.
mode has two things, one more interesting than the other. The first one is it just brings you to a menu where you can fight all of the fighters at any time. You don't have to beat them first to get the time travel. You can just fight them all at any time. And the second one, which is way more interesting, is if you do a second code on that menu, then the second player can control any of the fighters.
Which is insane because now it's like a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost certainly just to test out. Again, it's a debug mode, but they could have just there's been a secret 2-player in this mode the entire time, and it seems like it'd be really fun. And you get to actually be the bosses.
Well, the Wii version had a 2-player mode, did it not?
You didn't get to be the bosses in that one.
No. It is crazy that it took this long to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah. It's not even that big of a thing, right? It's like Y and R. Oh, I see. The reason why is because you have to have both controllers plugged in and press different buttons on each of them, which is probably why it took so long.
It is crazy.
It is cool. I'd really like to try it out someday.
that's pretty much the game, though. I can't think of anything that we didn't cover.
We've punched all of our outs.
We have. We did a TKO on the game.
Shows a real knockout, John.
That's right. Yeah, I guess we'll close it out. We can head into the outro. The knock outro. Yeah, or the punch outro, whichever one you like better as a pun there.
That was super.
So at this, yeah. At this point, since we've covered everything, we'll just go ahead and you guys can kind of tell everyone where to find you and what you got going on. Will, since you're on the opposite side now and you're first, you can go first.
Okay. Gosh, I don't have that much to plug at the moment anymore. Over on Twitter at Wondrous Will, I also stream Tuesdays and Thursdays right now. I'm trying to get a third one in there, but yeah. Twitch.tv/Wondrous Will. I do that too. Have a lot of fun there. I really like Punch Out, but I don't really. This one doesn't stick out for me. I think this is my least favorite of the ones I've messed with, honestly. I mean, the NES one just has it. It has the nostalgia advantage for sure, and the whole playing it with my dad thing. So it's special to me and all that. But I don't know. Even comparing this one to the Wii one, I just don't like this one as much.
No, it definitely feels
the
least of the three to me. I also wasn't expecting to ever get another game, The Wii one was like a total surprise. Like it was a surprise uppercut that came out of nowhere. Like, it's like get another Punch Out, okay. All right. Well, Flightsy, you're next in line, I think.
Yeah. So for plugs, I have a YouTube channel called Flightship. That's where Flightsy comes from. Everyone now interprets it as me flying somewhere, but it's just because I'm the captain of a flight ship. So Flightship, I do Tuesdays. That's Tuesdays at 5. I release a video. Fridays at 7, I do a live stream. I might be finishing my Kirby review by the end of the year. I'm hoping. I'm not sure if I can do it, but I'm really going to try. And I also wanted to plug Dial-A-Carol again. Because, my school does a thing where from the 8th to the 14th, they have a 24-hour Christmas Carol line that they run. And I've signed up on the 14th from basically starting at 10, 4-hour intervals with an hour break in between each one. So that's 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3 is a break. 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and then 7 to 8 would be a break. And then 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, and then 11 to midnight when they close down. And if you want to hear me sing during those times, just call the number. They'll ask you what song you want, but instead you're going to want to ask for me specifically. Again, asking for someone isn't quite part of the service, but it is something that generally people will oblige. And the number is 217-332-1882. That's 217-332-1882. And it'd really mean a lot to me if we got some calls.
Nice. So that starts tomorrow, right? And then
but I won't be there
on the 14th.
I'll be there the 14th. Awesome. On the times listed. But basically I start at 10 a.m. and go to midnight, basically.
So if you want to be serenaded, remember to ask for Philip. If you ask for Flightsy, they might not know who you're talking about.
Yeah, they won't know who Flightsy is. Flightsy isn't a real person.
Okay, Chris, I think that leaves you, man.
Thanks, John, for having me. I think on Punch Out, this is definitely my least favorite of the series. I like. Well, I have the nostalgia for the original on the NES, and then the Wii version was definitely like a love letter to that original version, and
Oh yeah.
so it definitely is a little bit higher up on the rating scale for me. As for plugs, if you're listening to this before Friday, December 9th, if you look up the Nintendo Dads on Twitch, Tim, Dad number 4, and I will be finishing our stream of Zelda 2, and we're raising money for Extra Life. So if you can join us Friday, December 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm on the 6th Palace, and we're going to try and get through the rest of the game eventually. So sometime, either it's Friday night or Saturday morning, whatever it ends up being. But we are trying to fill in it. We're trying to reach the. There's a couple members of Team Nintendo Dads who haven't quite got their fundraising goal, so we're trying to finish that up. And if you are able, join us. And if you can, please donate to Extra Life.
Yes, make sure you're donating Extra Life. There's other. That that kind of goes on for a little while longer now, right? There's some other people doing it as well. I don't remember everyone offhand, but yeah, if you can support any of those, definitely do that. And that's gonna do it. The next game that we'll be talking about on the next show is a mystery because I haven't picked one yet. So we'll have to see how it goes. I had a good 3 months scheduled out, and I think I ran out of my schedule. So I'm definitely gonna have to go back in and pick some games. The retro rewind slots in the schedule are easy to do, but it's hard for me to pick something. Sometimes there's just too many things. I need to get a random generator going or something and throw a bunch of games in there, make it easier. But yeah, so stay tuned. I'll reach out. Again, this would be another good reason to join our Discord. I'll be reaching out on Discord with what that game will be here shortly, probably in the next day or two. Give people enough time to prepare and sign on. But that's it. Thanks for listening to On Topic Retro, part of the RetroLogic family of podcasts. Also part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts in a roundabout way. If you'd like to send in your personal experiences for the next show but don't have Discord, please send them to ontopicretro@gmail.com. I understand that you won't know what the game is this time. You can just drop a line if you want to.
Throw in experiences for any game. Guess.
Yes, for any game. Yeah, I'll read them. I'll read anything you send if it's game related. If you haven't joined our Discord over at RetroLogic yet, why haven't you? You need to. It's a great place. It's free. You can just join. We don't have a paywall or anything. You can visit retrologic.games for details there. There's a link there'll be a link in the show description also if you want to join that way. But definitely make sure you go to retrologic.games anyway. There's lots of great stuff on there. We have other podcasts like the Retro Groove podcast and also the original Retrologic show. We also have a blog there that you can catch up on some reading if you'd like, that Sam Wagers puts in there for us. But that's pretty much it. That's all the plug-in I have. We're gonna close this one out, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
Bye. Vote Kirby Game of the Year 30. Yo.